Hey folks, Dave DePaulo from Maximus Internet Marketing. This is Web Wednesday number 14. Today I want to just talk a little bit about, technology, how that evolved, but also still how you still need, basic communication skills as a human being. So I was actually in the process. I sold a car yesterday online. Um, and I used, I had it on all the different apps, Facebook Marketplace, OfferUp, 5 Mile, a bunch of other stuff. And, it made me think back when I bought my first car. I found it on a classified ad in the Philadelphia Inquirer or the Daily News or one of them or whatever it was. But that's how people did business back then. You did a classified ad and, called them on the phone, scheduled time to go out and see it. And that's the way the world worked. And it made me think a lot to, where we're at today. I posted it online, and what really made me think was the dynamic of it and how people communicated with me online. If I was, selling the car for $4,700, you get these idiots writing you, I got $1,000 cash today. Like, yeah, it's great, man. Thanks. I don't know. Go buy a PlayStation. I don't care. Like, I'm not going to give you a $6,000 car for $1,000 because you just want to write me a stupid message. But that's the world we live in today. Like, just, people are just ignorant. They don't know how to communicate. And I think that's, somewhat a product of technology. Now, I'm not saying technology is bad, but I think that there's ways that we need to still have both, still have good communication, have respect. I'm fine. Hey man, shoot your shot. Closed mouths don't get fed. But at the same time, just don't waste my time. And then they get mad at you, if you don't respond. I'm like, are you kidding me? So anyway, just that whole dynamic in 20 years has changed so much with technology when you think about it. Which, it reminded me of, let me rewind. At the end of the day, the guy I sold the car to was an older gentleman. He asked for my phone number. He called me on the phone. We talked. We met yesterday, had the meet in person, communicate, build rapport, all that stuff that's normal communication, which I feel like people are lacking today. And it's just something we've gotten away from because we don't do it anymore, and myself included. When I order takeout, I don't even want to call and talk to people on the phone a lot of time and deal with that. I'd rather order online, even if it costs me $5 more. Believe it or not, it's crazy. And I think that's kind of where we're going, and you see that a lot even with just, communication on Facebook and people arguing and things like that. It's just like we've gotten away from just being civil people to each other, and we'd rather just be like angry and our hair's up, and it's so easier to be tough behind a keyboard than it is in front of someone where you gotta be relatable. You gotta talk and understand what they're saying and read verbal cues and nonverbal cues and things like that. It's a lost art. It really is. It's something I still deal with on a daily basis because I'm in business. So, I'm going out to meetings, I'm doing different things, I'm going out to networking events. But hey, I'm seeing that shift where people are losing that skill or even the value of that skill. And you just look at how much technology has changed just in the last 20 years. So, everything's, a lot of things are just done on a phone today. But think back, I didn't have my first cell phone until I think I was like 20 years old. I was in college. I had a beeper up until then. Most kids today don't even know what a beeper is or the idea of it. And I didn't even use the internet, or I didn't use a computer until 1997. I went to an inner city public school in Philadelphia. They didn't have computers. I didn't grow up with a lot of money. I didn't have a computer. I went to college. They stick a computer in front of me and tell me use this. My head exploded, which is laughable now when you think about it because I own an internet marketing company. But that shows you the shift. And what I'm getting at is, there's a generation or a couple generations of people, an age group, probably from, let's just say, from 2000 until, younger kids start using, iPads, phones, computers at school. There's an age demographic there that had to grow up during the technology era. We weren't just thrown into it. It wasn't something that was there. When I was younger, the only reason you had a cell phone was that if you had a lot of money, you were maybe a big business person or some kind of criminal. Cell phones didn't really become everyone having one until I would say early mid 2000s. So here we are now, 2020, and it's everything. Everyone uses them. So I read an article a long time back, and it said those generations that grew up while technology was happening, that this technology are the most equipped going into leadership roles, business roles, things like that, because we know the technology, but we also still know basic communication skills. We're comfortable around people, negotiating, interacting with people, those things. And it's something that I see the younger generations not really comfortable doing. And that's a problem. And listen, these are the leaders of the world later on, and they need to know technology, because the technology is only going to keep growing and growing and growing. So, they have to know that, and they have to be in that. But I do still think it's very, very important for kids and anyone who, hasn't really grown up in that era to still understand that and understand, communication, camaraderie, understanding, being around people that you might not know or might not understand. That was a big thing for me. I like I said, I'm from Philadelphia. I grew up in Southwest Philadelphia, went to an inner city public school. When I went out to college, out in, the country, pretty much you can call it Shippensburg and then IUP, that was a culture shock for me. You're seeing farms, cows, horse and buggies, it's bizarre, and I think that's a big thing. People aren't seeing other people, aren't seeing other cultures, aren't seeing, how to communicate with someone that's different. And, maybe that's a big part of the problems that we have today. I don't know. I don't know the answers to that, but I'm just saying, if, looking at things, how communication is replacing so many things in life, I think it's still important to still have human interaction and have those capabilities and abilities to function in that world as well, because you're going to have to. At some point, you're going to graduate school, you're going to get into a job, you're going to graduate college, or you're going to get into a job there, whatever it is, whatever your path is, you're going to have to communicate with people. Everything's not going to be online. Everything's not going to be on a phone. And you need to learn how to still do that. How do you do that? You go out and do it. That's it. Now, again, like I said, it's not saying forget about technology and not do that, because you're going to need that as well. And that goes for, my age group, or even older people who might not want to deal with the internet, might not, they might still want a flip phone or something like that, or no phone at all. It's going to be hard. It's going to be hard because communication is going to keep growing. There's not always going to be someone there to help you. So just wanted to throw that out there. Just some personal experiences, things that I see, when it comes to technology, and just being human, So hope this helps. I hope this kind of just puts some things into perspective and maybe makes you think a little bit differently about things. Dave DePaul, Web Wednesday. See you guys next week. Thank you.